Losing a Super Bowl leaves behind a strange kind of silence. The season is over, but your mind keeps circling back to every detail, trying to understand who will turn that pain into an answer. That's what keeps pulling me back toward this 2026 Patriots team. Behind the blockbuster additions, young players are developing, important pieces are being protected, and veterans are carrying the weight of Foxborough. The question isn't whether New England has recognizable names, it's who can make this roster truly believe it can finish the climb this time. Hit like, subscribe, and come search for that answer with me. Today, the first heartbeat comes from a defense that may be revealing its next defining player. Craig Woodson spent most of 2025 doing the kind of work that rarely takes over a broadcast, but helps keep an entire defense standing. He started 15 of the 17 games he played, recording 3 passes defended and 2 fumble recoveries during the regular season. Those numbers don't demand attention, but when you watch his game closely, they tell you a lot more. Chad Graff of The Athletic chose Woodson as the Patriots player to watch for a potential breakout in 2026. That gets me fired up because this isn't based on some empty promise. Graff pointed to Woodson's ability to support the run while still covering ground on the back end. That requires recognition, discipline, and courage. It isn't just about chasing the football, it's about reading the formation, anticipating what the quarterback wants, and taking away the comfortable play before it can even develop. Then Kevin Byard enters the picture, a veteran who led the NFL in interceptions last season. A lot of people will see this pairing and assume Woodson is simply the young sidekick next to the established name. I see a different possibility. Byard can remove some of the organizational burden from Woodson's shoulders, allowing the second-year safety to play faster. Putting an experienced safety beside him doesn't have to shrink Woodson's role. It could speed up everything he was already doing well without getting much attention. His playoff performance left another powerful impression. The pressure increased. The offenses were better prepared. Woodson never looked like he didn't belong on that stage. Surviving is one thing for a young defender. Remaining dependable when the season starts tightening around you is something else entirely. That was when Woodson began showing that his ceiling could be much higher than solid starter. And speaking as a fan, I love it when the rest of the league takes too long to notice a New England player. There's something deeply satisfying about watching a guy develop inside the system, handle the thankless work, and eventually force everyone to learn his name. Woodson will have more freedom, more experience beside him, and a defense capable of putting pressure on quarterbacks. If throws begin arriving late or floating into the deep part of the field, his chances will come. His next step doesn't require becoming a completely different player. It requires turning sound positioning into obvious impact, closing a window one beat sooner, attacking the football instead of only limiting the catch, and converting recognition into turnovers. The Patriots' defense already trusts him. In 2026, opponents may be forced to respect him too. Once a young safety starts controlling the back end, the entire defense gets permission to become more aggressive up front. That defensive aggression would be huge, but every New England fan knows where the heaviest pressure will fall, on Drake Maye and everything being built around him. Mike Vrabel didn't spend this offseason making timid little repairs. He landed Romeo Doubs on the open market and pulled A.J. Brown away from Philadelphia in a blockbuster trade. Justin Carter of Fansided has now ranked the Patriots' new receiving tandem 7th among the NFL's best heading into 2026. My reaction to that ranking isn't gratitude, it's hunger. A.J. Brown topped 1,000 yards in all 4 of his seasons with the Eagles, even though his 2025 campaign fell below the standard he had established for himself. He comes to Foxborough with the power to win through contact, the presence to reshape coverage, and a recent chapter that demands a response. A player like Brown doesn't walk into an offense just to catch passes. He changes where the opposing safety is even allowed to stand. Doubs brings a different kind of danger. He has never reached 1,000 yards, but he's coming off 55 catches, 724 yards, and 6 touchdowns. That is real production before he even gets this opportunity in New England. Carter believes Doubs had more talent than Green Bay was able to unlock. If a new environment brings that ability out of him, the Patriots won't have one star and one supporting piece. They'll have 2 ways to punish any defense that commits too many resources to one side. That's the part of this transformation that hits me emotionally. For far too long, the Patriots quarterback had to create difficult plays from situations that should have been simple. Maye can now look toward Brown in a contested situation, find Doubs attacking the space that creates, work Hunter Henry over the middle, or hand the ball to Ramondre Stevenson and Travion Henderson. The first play schedule will be tougher, absolutely, but that difficulty also belongs to every defense responsible for trying to stop this arsenal. A number 7 ranking doesn't hand New England a single win, but it confirms that people outside Foxborough already recognize the offensive transformation. I want that recognition to bother Maye, Brown, and Doubs in the best possible way. Let them see the 6 duos ranked ahead of them and realize there's still ground left to take. After the painful way 2025 ended, nobody in this offense should feel satisfied with simply looking better on paper. The mission is to make life cleaner and faster for the quarterback while making it much more violent for opposing defenses. Those weapons still need time to operate, and the quietest move of the offseason may be the one that protects every last one of them. When the Patriots climbed from pick number 31 to number 28 and surrendered a 4th-round selection to secure Caleb Lomu, the reaction came nowhere close to the explosion created by the A.J. Brown trade. Offensive tackles don't dominate summer conversations. Mike Reese, however, called that move New England's most underrated decision of the offseason. I believe he touched the nerve at the center of this whole project. Every weapon surrounding Drake Maye loses value if the protection falls apart. Lomu was the 7th tackle selected, even though the Patriots had him ranked higher on their own board. The front office saw the final offensive lineman carrying a 1st-round grade sliding towards somebody else's range, and it refused to leave the outcome to chance. New England paid to move up 3 spots. That shows conviction. After years of Patriots fans questioning the team's offensive line selections and development, there's real relief in seeing the front office act aggressively for a player it truly valued. The rookie initially projects as the swing tackle behind Will Campbell on the left and Morgan Moses on the right. He has also taken reps at guard, and Mike Vrabel has already praised his versatility. That might sound like a depth role until you remember how relentlessly an NFL season attacks every plan. Moses is 35. Campbell struggled at times during the postseason. One injury or rough stretch could put Lomu on the field far sooner than expected. Physically, he has the long arms, size, and movement skills required to protect the blind side. The fascinating question is, what happens if he learns faster than expected? Lomu could push for playing time on the left and start a conversation about moving Campbell inside, where many evaluators believe he has elite potential. He could also prepare to eventually succeed Moses on the right. I don't want to watch Maye escape pressure on every snap and then hear people praise him for surviving it. I want to see him plant his feet, work through his progressions, and use the roster Vrabel fought so hard to assemble. That's why moving up 3 spots in the draft carries as much emotion as a deep completion. It tells us somebody inside that building understood exactly who needed to be protected and acted before the crisis arrived. Protection can't survive on youth and projection alone either. It also needs somebody who has lived through every phase of this team without ever walking away from his post. Mike Onwenu is that guy. After all the changes, cuts, arrivals, and departures, the right guard enters 2026 as the longest tenured player on the Patriots roster. That lands differently for me. Rebuilds are usually told through new faces, but they don't develop roots unless someone stays long enough to connect what the team once was with what it's fighting to become again. Selected 182nd overall in the 6th round of the 2020 draft, Onwenu arrived shortly after the end of an era. He reached the playoffs only twice during his first 5 seasons and had to wait until year 5 to celebrate a postseason victory. Even through all of that, his individual standard barely changed. Across the regular season and playoffs, he has appeared in 103 games, started 94, and missed only 2 of a possible 106 because of injury. That isn't just physical endurance. It's trust built across time. Onwenu has played both guard spots and right tackle. At 350 pounds with a strong base, long arms, and heavy hands, he can anchor against power and pass protection and move defenders in the running game. His athleticism in space has limitations, especially in zone concepts and the screen game, and his hand usage isn't always clean. Put him in a more physical scheme that allows him to attack in tight spaces, though, and his power establishes the tone. Think about what that means for Caleb Lomu, Will Campbell, and an offensive line room that must discover its best combination without losing its identity. Onwenu understands position changes. He understands pressure. He understands those Sundays when pass protection becomes the only topic anyone in New England wants to discuss. He doesn't need to give a speech about culture every day. His availability and willingness to fill different roles already tell that story. There's also something special about seeing him reach age 28 as the roster's longest tenured veteran, just as this team begins carrying serious expectations again. He lived through the confusing seasons. Now he can help prevent this new phase from getting lost in its own excitement. Brown brings impact. Byard brings experience. The young players bring upward momentum. Onwenu brings continuity, the invisible thread holding every part of it together. I want a different kind of response from the fan base here. In the comments, leave one word that defines what Mike Onwenu represents to you. Not a rating, not a choice between two sides, just one word. Players like him rarely receive the volume reserved for stars, even though they're there for every decisive run, every long protection, and every attempt to keep the quarterback upright. If these 2026 Patriots plan to turn pain into maturity, they need to value the player who stayed when the applause was difficult to find. Maybe that's the answer I've been searching for since the Super Bowl ended. New England isn't trying to erase the pain with one signing. It's building its response one layer at a time. Woodson can step out of the shadows and command space. Brown and Doubs can give Maye his freedom back. Lomu can keep the protection from relying on a fragile plan. And Onwenu reminds everyone that a new era still needs roots. I want to see it hold when the pressure arrives, because hope in Foxborough always has to face the field. But today, I believe in this roster a little more. Subscribe to Patriots Club fans to follow every test of that response. The next step isn't forgetting 2025, it's making that loss mean something.